Because the truth is, when we hear these things, we tend to get like social workers themselves. So they tell you the social worker side of things, which it's okay. But I think when it's raw, it's like coming through like this, is worth sharing. So I just want us to just celebrate my husband, and I thank God for he came all the way, had to drive us all the way from Sheffield. So we came from Sheffield this morning, and my daughter Chloe Ihoma Eze, she's in there, and it's such an honor, so such a great joy. I met you at the conference in August. And I just thank God for your life. And this man of God has your heart. He has you guys in his heart for him to arrange things like this. And let me tell you something. What God is doing in this dispensation, in this season, is not about numbers, okay? God is bringing, the upper room experience. Quality. This is quality. So don't look at just because few seats. Churches are packed and chaff that they are eating from. This is substance. This is what essence of Christianity, community is all about. And that is the next level this is the only way we can make impact in this society. We must be a community and we must strengthen ourselves. So I want you to celebrate this man of God and his team and the beautiful life. And celebrate, honestly, it's such a great joy. A lot of men out there, ministers, I'm not judging, they're all for their pockets and what they can get from you, your tithes and your offerings. It takes grace to bring this substance to this house. So please run with them. Okay, God bless us. I'm just going to quickly move on. Sorry, I get a bit of cold in my sore throat, but I'm going to be quick. So I'm here to speak to us about positioning yourself for the next job and thriving in the workplace. But before I go ahead, I want to ask a quick question. Who's applied for a job in the last 6 months? Please raise your hands. Okay, can I give us a spiritual exercise? Can we all rise? Sorry. You're going to love me at the end of the day. So if it applies to you, right, you're going to sit down. If it doesn't apply to you, you remain standing, okay? So you applied for a job in the last 6 months. Please be seated. 4 months ago, you applied for a job. 3 months ago, you applied for a job. 2 months ago, you applied for a job. A month ago, you applied for a job. 3 weeks ago, you applied for a job. A week ago, you applied for a job. A day ago, you applied for a job. Just now, you applied for a job. Okay, a year ago, you applied for a job. Okay, you've been in your job for more than 10 years. You're all seated, God bless you. That was just to keep you awake. So if you've been in your job for more than 10 years, please raise your hands. 5. And doing the same job. Sorry, I'm not going to go there. But anyway, the whole idea is to kind of gauge where we're all at with our jobs. And no one is doing right or wrong, okay? So I wasn't here to judge you or for you to look at the next person, oh, you're more ambitious than I am. No, it's nothing like that. Okay, so I have put this, rather than saying thriving in the workplace, I've put it as thriving in the workspace because some of us work remotely, okay? So you don't necessarily have to go into a place. You might be software, wherever you are. People work while they're on holiday these days. It's not ideal, you should be taking breaks for, oh well. So I'm just going to quickly go, and I'm going to get us to, I know when I did this presentation at OFNC, it was like 2 hours, but I've had to really compress it. and I've come today to challenge us. So I'm not going to give you the answer. I'm actually going to get you to think and get the answer from yourself, and then we'll guide ourselves through this journey. Okay? So I just want to, personally, I'm going to talk from my heart. I'll try not to just be scripted. I'm going to talk from my heart. This was how I spoke in the OFSC conference in the Sheffield branch. The truth is, if you want to thrive in the place of work, you must understand purpose. And I'm not going to buttress on that or deliberate on that too much. As a child of God, as a Christian, you should have purpose. And purpose is pretty much what are you living for? Why am I doing what I'm doing? What is the aim? What is the objective? What is the end goal of what I'm doing? Am I just doing it to get paid salary? If that's what you're doing, that's okay, but that's not going to take you to the next level. And having said that, I do appreciate that you might be in a job where you just need to work to get paid, but that shouldn't stop you either to have that mindset of I am going to the next level. So I'm here to tell you that just numeration of salary and pay isn't enough, okay? And so for me, like I said, I transitioned from a kid. In fact, we were talking about social. So I lost my dad at a very young age when I was 8. He was in Nigeria anyway. We came over. My mom's a nurse. She lives in Sheffield as well. So I grew up with my brother, my younger brother, and I. And my background's been in law. And then I switched to HR, and I've worked. In fact, my first job was in Sports Direct, £3.60 an hour. At the age of 16. So you see, I started working at the age of 16. My brother didn't start working until he was 23. In fact, he finished his uni, got a first class, couldn't get a job. Even the cleaning job he got sacked on the cleaning job. But I started working at the age of 16. I'm just trying to say, it's not about when you start, it's about how well you start and how well you carry on. But it's worth starting early. Experiences never get missing or get lost or invaluable. So I started working at the age of 16, worked in Sports Direct, worked in KFC, worked in a call center, Virgin Media, worked for HSBC, worked for Halifax. So my CV is long, right? But what I'm trying to get at, because now I'm a HRBP, right? And I've also transitioned in my HR job. So I've done recruitment, now I'm sat more on strategic and ER kind of management. I get CVs come through. I don't necessarily do the recruitment thing so much, but I get CVs. And it's not about the length of your CV. It's about the quality of your CV and the structure. So here, I'm going to be very practical. That's what I'm saying. I'm not going to stick to my script, my slides, because I just feel I'm going to talk as the Spirit of God leads me and to be very practical. So if you're here today and thinking, I'm trying to speak to people who want to transition in their job, so you wanted to move to the next job, you want to thrive in what you're doing now, or you're asking, where do I even start from? The first place to start from is putting your CV together, no matter how small. And I always advise to have what we call a master CV. So for instance, I have a CV that has everything that I've ever done in my life from A to Z. But then when you apply for a job, there is no way you should be applying for a job with the same CV. You should be applying for a job, you should be tailoring your CV to the job description. Studies have shown that if a woman or women, when they see a job application or a job advert, if that job says, like, this is a requirement, this is a criteria, and let me tell you the truth, all those criteria things should really be going off CVs now. People shouldn't be putting it there because people use it to discriminate and like, oh, he or she needs to have that. It's not true. So studies have shown that if there are 4 requirements in a job, for instance, if a woman has 3, women still wouldn't apply for that job. 70% of women still wouldn't apply. But if men have 2, or even 1, or even none, men will apply. That is to show you that women, we actually look down so much on ourselves. And because, in all honesty, the workplace hasn't been a good equal playing field for most women. Some women have started, you go on maternity, people are afraid of even having birth. You now have companies like Google, Facebook, offering you to freeze your eggs so that you can work for them and then have babies later in life, which can be challenging because you can't fight biology. Is it biology, yeah? Your physical biology, right? So it's very important that as a woman, today your mindset shifts that even if I read that job description, I only have 1, I'm gonna try and still apply. Because sometimes people will look at you and say, I just want to see this person. It's not even about, and I believe as a child of God, first of all, there's what they call favor and grace. They want to put, we've seen CVs where like, oh, this person, they don't really have, but I want to see this, but I want to put a face to the name. Some people have gotten the job not because they were the best, but because the interviewer said, this person looks interesting. They might not have it, but I just want to see what they look like. People have gotten the job based on what they look like. And I know we don't like that face fits, right? But it can be in your favor. It happened to Esther. I love see life, and you need to be balanced. And I'm not saying people use it to advantage, but you have to ask God for favor. Okay? So another thing I'm going to say very quickly is when you get invited when you've applied for a job. In fact, let me quickly say this here. The links that you need to use, if you're really, especially for graduates or people who've come into the country, by now you should pretty much have a LinkedIn account. How many of us have a LinkedIn account? And you're actively using your LinkedIn. Every professional shouldn't be spending your time on Instagram, TikTok, unless you're making money from Instagram or TikTok. If you're making money, mommy just gave eye to her daughter. I don't know. Or young people are making money. People are turning millions of dollars and whatever on TikTok. So if you're a content producer or content creator, fair enough. But if you're a professional and you're just scrolling, I'm guilty of it most times. I was telling my husband, please, LinkedIn should be your friend. LinkedIn is the marketplace. You should have a LinkedIn account. You should leave it as open to work. It helps you to connect to the people that are in your field and the professionals and the professors in your field. So it's very important, and people can do recommendations. Like you can say, "Oh, I'm looking for a job." Someone can share your link and share your whatever, and people can connect with you, and people can get jobs. In fact, my job right now that I'm doing, I was headhunted for the job, so I never applied for the job. I was found on LinkedIn. I was told, would you be interested in this job? I only had a conversation. Went down. Oh, I want to see you further. We went down, had a chat. It was the most informal interview, and it's not anyhow job. So it's not. I'm not messing around or downplaying it, but I'm telling the importance. So I'm talking to you from experience. But you must develop yourself to a point where if you're then called upon, you have something to deliver. Substance is important. So I also want to talk to us about association. In as much as I appreciate that a lot of people are coming in now with CSO for sponsorship for care is great. And I'm not saying do not care is not great or whatever. That's not what I'm trying to say. But if you want to move on, what stops you being the owner? I'm not saying you can find your owner, but the point I'm trying to get here is that you must be ambitious for yourself. And don't ever let anyone tell you you're too ambitious. Sometimes, if they don't know how to say no to you, an average Caucasian will tell you, oh, you're too ambitious. I think you're very, very ambitious. It's okay to be ambitious. It's not my ambition. It's not your ambitiousness. It's my ambitiousness. It's okay to be. In fact, be known to be an ambitious person, because the truth is there are some things that when it needs to be done, your name will be mentioned. Don't be a sleeping dog. In fact, I tell people, when you stay in a job more than 2 years, you should really be thinking of moving. Unless you're really in a place where you think this is my retirement role, I don't want to. You should never be part of the furniture. And she'll do it. You find yourself training everyone, and everyone is moving past you. And you're wondering what's happening to me. So you must ask questions, you must challenge, ask to shadow. So I'm just going to quickly go. So it's important that one of the things, I'm not going to speak to us as a community of our community and our people, or will I say minority. One of the things that I see that can be a bit of a barrier for us in this community is when you don't understand the system or your work culture. I say to people, if you're going to apply for a job, it's important that you spend time to research the organization. What does the organization do? How is the industry that you're going into? If you're going to go into NHS, at least you should be able to know when NHS was established, which trust, because NHS has different trusts, isn't it? Which trust? Who are the board directors? In fact, just do things, do those the place that you like the organization. It's good to know the work culture. That is one thing that people struggle with. So every organization has its own culture. If you're working for a white collar, so your white collars will be like your legal firm, your big 5 circles like DLA, Piper, all those big law firms, American, UK law firms. Your blue collar firms will be like freight, my industry, manufacturing, your blue collar. So at least you should know that on an average, and in fact, give or take, in all fairness, a lot of law firms are a bit downplayed these days. So days are gone. I tell you, 10 years ago, I wouldn't carry this hair as a lawyer to go to work in the law firm. it was frowned upon. So diversity is actually playing a big role, and you must engage in that. 2 weeks ago, I think it was National Inclusion Week. A lot of people don't even do it. All you do is just work. You don't know what's happening. You don't get involved in any steering group, work group. I'm not saying go and join BAME and be protesting, I am this, give me a job because I'm black. I tell them I work, they know me for that. Do not use me for a tick box exercise. Do not come calling me, because we need a black woman to be in this senior level, I'm going to call you Stella. I'm not going to do that. Because the truth is, if I accept that, are you going to give me the support that I need in that role to thrive? So sometimes you need to learn to say no. Your no can be a promotion to a bigger level. But when you say yes to everything that comes your way, they will be throwing it to you. Like that Samaritan woman. Jesus said, I'll be throwing bones. Yes, I know he healed the child anyway, but you don't want to be throwing pearls to pigs. This is why you need to know your worth. Say to them, I would rather say no to that position, take my time, do this course, do this whatever, and apply. I used to work for a different organization. While I was there, I was told to tell you, you're so ambitious. And I was more qualified than most people. Even my manager, I was more qualified. My manager looked at me and said, I feel one day you're going to take my job. That day, I went and pitched myself. I said, clearly, Kelechi, this is not the place for you. And I like to soliloquize a lot and speak to myself. So I have to plan my next exit. And they were going to give me a different role. I said, sorry, I can't do that. That's not what I want to do. As God would have it, I got married. I had my daughter. COVID came, worked in my favor, went on maternity, and I made my next move. And now I know LinkedIn tells you when people view your profile. And I'm like, see life. So sometimes you need to say no. You need to know your worth and say, no, this is not where I'm not going to take this. I know where I'm going to go, and I'm going to move. So that's important. And when I talk about work culture, it's important that you understand your organizational culture, because what that helps you to do is to understand how to engage with your stakeholders, how to engage with your customers and your colleagues. A lot of us going to work, you don't even go on breaks with people. You don't even go to the pub, because maybe going to the pub will dissuade you as a Christian. You don't want to go for a drink or a meal. I'm not saying go there and smoke. I'm not saying go there and drink alcohol, but you can go. My job the job I do now, before I started, my husband and I, we went to Red Hill, is it Red Hill? For horse racing. They invited for horse racing, everything was paid for. Whole day, paid for fuel, everything, whatever. So engage that, and while I was there, I met the CEO, I met the director, because an average Caucasian person loves to enjoy and relax themselves. So in some of these social functions, that's where you're actually going to meet your seniors, the directors, especially if you're in operations. The truth is, when you're in an operational role, you're not necessarily going to know what happens in the HQ, which is your headquarters, or the support roles like finance, HR, legal. So when in functions and activities happen, I know I'm talking more on private sector, but even in public sector, where there's a talk and things go, that's when you're going to see the seniors. That's when you're going to put face to name. It's smart movement. You're not trying to gravitate, or I don't know, there's a word they use in Nigeria. They're not trying to follow Nyashinyashi or anything like that. But it's just position, just like Queen Esther did. She positioned herself. So you need to know to go in, to let them know you. Hi, this is me. When you meet someone, hi. When they shake your hand, shake firmly, not too hard. All these things, like I said, folding your arms, your body language, how you look. In fact, let me digress quickly. My brother, when we came here, of course, as a young person in Nigeria, you don't look when your elder is talking, you don't look at them eyeball to eyeball. You put your head down. They had to call my mom and say, Sam, well, his name is Sam now. He seems quite distracted. He doesn't do this, he doesn't do that, doesn't do that. Mom had to say to them, no, because in my culture, when an elder is speaking to you, you have to put your head down. So make eye contact. When you don't make eye contact, it's already seems like you're guilty or disinterested. When people are talking, I'm talking to you naturally, I'm looking at looking at you, eyeball to eye, eyeball to eyeball. You slip through their throats, their soul, through their soul. So it's important that you make eye contact. Another thing I said is I attend social. And then I always say to people, listen twice as hard. Our culture, we don't listen. I tell you the truth now, we don't listen. You need to listen at twice. If someone's talking, just hear what they have to say. There's a little thing I learned recently, say decentralizing yourself from a conversation. When someone comes to you for a matter or a conversation, and they say, my week went this way, I wasn't feeling, my child was so poorly, my son's so ill. It's not the time to say, my own son was very poorly as well. No, just take yourself out of that conversation. Let them finish. When they finish, then try to relay what they've said to you. Oh, really? Is that how you felt? How are you feeling now? These things matter. Relationship in the workplace matter. I tell you now. Being likability is a thing. It's actually a thing. Likability is a thing. So don't take it for granted. You come, you put up an attitude. I put up a post the other day on my status. I told my husband, and I'm sorry to say this, I'm not trying to pick on anyone, but I'm sorry, an average Nigerian girl has attitude. In fact, and they say black women, we have attitude problem. And I'm sorry, I'm a black woman, so perhaps I can say that. We have this thing that I don't know if we think we do it to make us feel like, oh, you can't mess with me. I don't know what it is. But sweetheart, no one's thinking that way. No one's thinking that way, but just relax. You meet an average Nigerian girl in an event of, hello, hi. For boys, men, I don't know. Let me think you're already checking them. Or a girl, I'm thinking, sister, calm down. And all these things, like I say, body language matters. People won't come to you. People won't want to recognize. They don't want to call you in a meeting. I was in a meeting recently, and this girl was speaking. Unfortunately, she was Nigerian. And her tone felt like she was about to punch, like, it was through like virtual meeting, but I could even feel the anger. And it was already like downplaying the point she was trying to make. Just because she wasn't controlling how she was saying. And what she was saying was very valid. It took me as a Nigerian to understand where she's coming from. But for other cultures, you've disengaged them. They're not going to listen to you. I had to deal with a case where someone nearly got fired for sexual harassment. Well, they call it sexual harassment, but it wasn't really. I had to step in to say that it wasn't, because our culture, Africa, we touch a lot. Oh, my brother, my sister, how far? How you doing? All those things. But here you can't do it. A woman touching me, unwanted touch, unwanted harassment. So we've got to be careful about these things. My brother, we've been seeing, and it's so shameful because now everything gets caught up on the camera and everything. And some young guys that just came to study, just 1 month into study, already, they catfish you, trying to sleep with a 15-year-old. I don't know how many of you have seen this in Nigerian guys. Please, respect yourself. Respect yourself. Purpose, and it goes back to that purpose. I don't see how you can leave the shores. My mom would say, how many seas, how many mountains, how many whatever. You come here to misbehave. That's a strong man. That's a serious strong man. And like we said, ask questions. There's absolutely nothing wrong in asking questions. When you're given a task, in fact, one of the qualities of a good leader or skill to have is being able to carry out instruction. A lot of us, I don't know, depending on the kind of job that you do, you might have either KPI, which you're used to measure, or you might just have maybe a project, you have a charter that you use, or your Gantt chart that tells you timeline or however you need to deliver, or you manage a budget. Ask questions. If I give you an instruction, if I say to you, oh, I need you to get me tissue, there's nothing stopping you saying from where, what sort of tissue, hand tissue, serviette, what? Elaborate. In fact, it shows you're smart, you're listening. But some of us, I think because we want to feel that, I can always get things straight out there, I don't want to ask questions, you just do the bare minimum. Because the truth is, sometimes asking questions shows that you're not just doing bare minimum work. I'm on a training course about coaching. In fact, if you've been through any coaching session or therapy session, when you go into therapy, a therapist doesn't necessarily help you solve your problem. They actually get you to solve your own problem. Do you know what they do? They ask you a question, and then you give them, all you hear is, why? Those why will keep giving you the answer until you get to the root cause. So why don't you do that with yourself as well? Something happens, why do I need to do this? Why do I have to do that? You don't have to take things at face value. Asking a question doesn't make you incompetent. It doesn't mean that you can't do things. It just means that you're someone that you think. And this will bring me to neurodiversity, which our culture haven't embraced yet. We're in a culture where when it comes to neurodiversity, we call people, this person is mad, they're crazy. We use random words. We see our children with ADHD. We say, this one, they can't sit in one place. But actually, people that are autistic or in a spectrum are very intelligent people. Those guys know how to pay attention to details. Those are your guys that work in things like control, airline control, planning. They work with numbers. People on the spectrum. In fact, human beings are all on the spectrum. So when you have a child or you as a person, you're someone that you're not good with numbers, it's okay. I think it's a good skill to actually find out, I'm not good with numbers. This is what I'm good at. And then you do that. But when you meet people that are good at things, it's worth that you bring those kind of people to your team. you do, and I want to encourage people to do what we call a strength scope exercise. It's online. You can do it. What it tells you what your strengths are, not your weaknesses necessarily, but what we call your under bubbles. So things that you maybe they cannot take more time for you to do. If I use myself for example, one of my strengths is strategic mindedness. So it means that I'm quite visionary. So if you're someone like me, it means that you're someone who sees the bigger picture. If you get a project, you can quickly see, where we can run with this thing, where we can go with this, the ideas that I have in the project team. But my weakness is if I'm working in a team, I must be sure to carry other people who are not like me. As I want to sit down and be like, let's cross our T's, let's dot our I's. And because I'm strategic, I want to move quickly. I'm there going, you're too slow, you're too this person is slow in thinking. They're not slow in thinking. It's just the way they process information. This will help you as a manager, will help you even in your team. And also help you know that, okay, it's okay. If everybody else has gotten this, I don't get it. It's all right. I'll take my time and think things through. And then if you're someone who likes problem solving is your kind of skill, then you know that you're that kind of person. People that are problem solvers tend to ask questions. That's why you see some friends who are very quick, how are you doing? You okay? They're not being nosy, it's just their nature. And if you have people like that, they're the good people who can actually bring your problems to kind of help you to resolve the situation. I'm mindful of time, so I'm going to go quickly. Another thing that I believe will help you in the workplace is what I call psychological awareness. So it's important that, like I said, you know your self-worth, take care of yourself, and safety at workplace is important. These are some of the things that we don't look at, we don't consider. And it's so sad because studies have shown that people in the social sector are very, very, they score very low with safety, especially in our community. People give people cars to drive, the car is not insured, they don't even have a license, people are getting banned, even striking you with, I used to work in home office, people are even getting points before they even get their ILR and things like that. These things affect you in the workplace. So it's important that if I'm going to work in a place that is not safe, I wouldn't undertake that job. As a nurse, you know that you need to wear your apron or whatever you need to wear to work. If someone is hurrying you up, my mom will always say, no, that thing has to wait. I am not going to risk my life because it has to wait. And that's it. Once you put that thing in place, it will help you. And some regulations that come in place, like now we have the menopause policy. It's important how you manage that, and as a woman, how that applies to you in your workplace. I've said understanding your work culture. I've said also well-being and work-life balance is another big one. Please, I know you're trying to make money, but don't take shift on shift on shift. My sister-in-law was on her way to work, and somebody died on the bus. And they found that they've been working 72 hours. People are dropping dead. In fact, years ago, a lady, a nurse, my mom knows, I don't know the lady, she died on the steering wheels. Well, she'd finished night shift, was going to morning shift. And guess what? They found £10,000 in her bag. So please, take care of your well-being. You don't have to travel far to Jerusalem or to the outmost part of the world. Take yourself to a spa. Spend the money on yourself. Rest, sleep, switch off the lights, switch off your phone. Don't get into the habit of using phones before you sleep off. It affects you psychologically. And I've talked about, I've talked about that. So, if you feel any signs, in fact, people in the medical field will tell you once you reach 40, you should do what they call health MOT. Check yourself, check everything to know how you're feeling. Don't, because there's an attack from my village, I'll drink paracetamol. Don't drink paracetamol. Paracetamol is actually dangerous. I'm not in the medical field, but it's actually a very dangerous medication. But we take it for granted, we just swallow. So if you don't feel right, take care of yourself. A lot of organizations offer, as part of the benefits, they offer like private health care. Make use of it. They offer counseling. Speak to someone. You have our church pastor, like Pastor has already told you, that people in church are now betraying themselves. Whereas, God forgive us, God will help us in Jesus' name. Whereas, if you speak to someone like in your employee assist programs, you have your counseling online 24 hours 7. You speak to someone that doesn't know you, the conversation is going to be confidential, and you can tell them anything, and you can seek legal advice, legal aid, and legal support. So please, if you feel like, people in my church already know my story, which shouldn't be, my prayer and my heart desire is after the church of God should be our city of refuge. It should be a place that we can all run and really be vulnerable to one another and cover ourselves like Lot's. Not be like Lot's. It's Lot's children that they cover their father's shame. But if you don't feel comfortable, because for me personally, I believe that trust is a journey. It doesn't happen overnight. But rather than you sit there and not knowing who to know, at least you've spoken to somebody. Okay? And I'll say, whatever you do, like I said, best practice in the workplace, listen to understand. When you understand, take out the action. And once you carry out the action, review your actions. I'm running because of time. And I've said, I'm just going to read out a few social media accounts that we can use. I've talked about LinkedIn. There's Indeed, there's Reed, there's Job Grad Cracker for those who are graduates. There's NHS, there's civil service. And there are agencies that you can submit your applications to. And even word of mouth. Hi, my brother, I'm looking for a job. People get jobs like that. Like, come on, okay? And I've talked about skills and policies that you can use in the workplace. Goal setting is important. Be someone who's goal-oriented. Be confident, because when you're not confident, you will go for anything. So it's important that you have confidence, that you have knowledge. Seek knowledge. Even the Bible says, my people perish for lack of knowledge. And knowledge comes by being curious. Ask questions. Be efficient in the things you do. Efficiency is important. And be adaptable. Flexibility is also what people look for in the workplace. Strong communicator. So, and I know sometimes it might be hard to communicate. Don't ever say my accent, they don't understand my accent. I was watching a TED Talk, and I think you can listen to that TED Talk. TED Talk helps a lot. It tells you foreign language to you. One of the ways to speak is on a higher level pitch voice like this, and then slower, like, hi everyone, how are you doing? I don't know if you see Chinese people who are professionals when they give speech. This is how they talk, and you can still understand what they're saying. So you're still clear and concise. So slow down, no one is rushing you, take your time. And then analytical skill, like I said, is very important because data drives everything we do these days. And I said to you, psychological safety is important. Be safe at work for yourself and for the people. A lot of people businesses have been closed down due to health and safety. People lose their jobs due to lack of health, and you put yourself at risk and put your colleagues at risk. Believe in yourself, build network, and valuable and meaningful networking. I don't waste my time. Like I think someone said it today. Days are gone where I make friends. In fact, I don't even make friends like that. There has to be a reason why I'm connecting with you. Because days are short. Like, come on. And I'm not saying don't be friendly. It's two different things, okay? And create ways to develop yourself. Learn from people. Accomplish things. Set goals. Don't procrastinate. Procrastination is really, really bad. And have sense of belonging. It's good to belong to a group. I think it's important. We all need it. Social awareness is what we need. And finally, I'm just going to talk about coming out from your comfort zone. If you're going to grow, you need to leave that place of comfort and go to a place of growth. And what comfort gives you, it only just gives you a sense of safety. So you may not actually be safe. And it gives you a sense of control. You think you're actually in control. No, you're not. Because your manager can turn around and be like, we no longer need you. They lay you off. And you've been there sitting in your comfort zone. That comfort will turn to something else. Fear zone is the next place, where is in that fear zone where you have is your lack of confidence. You find excuses for everything. You find your and what happens in that place is that your emotions and your opinions are affected by others. So you don't actually make decisions based on yourself. It's all about what it's like you're seeking approval from people. So it's also good that you come out from the fear zone and then go into the learning zone. This is where I want you to start from today by the grace of God. This is where you then start to acquire skills, acquire knowledge, ask questions, extend your comfort zone. You're not saying to yourself, okay, I need to break out. And then, as I always say, this is the story. I believe this is where David was when he said, shall I pursue? Will I overtake? So ask questions. And then, final place to be is in your growth zone. So in that place of growth is where you find purpose. And this could be in anything, in as much as we're talking about career. It could be ministerially, you found your purpose. Then why don't you translate that in your work, in your career? So where you find your purpose, where you're now living the dream, the life that you want, you're making impact. I believe that whatever it is that you do in this life, you must impact people one way or the other. And in this zone, you're now setting goals for yourself, and you're now seeing yourself conquering those things and seeing results. All right? I'm going to stop here because of time, sir. I think that, is it after 45 minutes, we actually switch off. And we'll be talking for more than 45 minutes, okay? So, God bless you. It's been a great honor and opportunity to come share with you guys. Of course, what I did today, like I said, it was 2 hours, 30 minutes that we did it in Birmingham. So, I had to really compress. So, I've spoken to employees, really, not employers. But yeah, and thank you for your time. God bless you. Any questions?